Every history book you've ever read about the Crusades starts the same way. The Pope calls, the armies march, Jerusalem falls, and then Saladin arrives to save the day. But that's not the full story, not even close. What they never taught you, in school, in Hollywood, in Western documentaries, is a 200-year war of survival, strategy, and sacrifice, fought by men whose names you've never heard. This is not the story of the Crusades. This is the story of the men who ended them. The year is 1099. The First Crusade has succeeded beyond anyone's wildest expectations. 4 Crusader states now sit like daggers inside the Muslim heartland: Edessa, Antioch, Tripoli, and Jerusalem itself. Why did this happen? Because the Muslim world was shattered. Sunni and Shia fighting each other. Arab emirs plotting against Turkish sultans. Fatimids in Egypt despising the Seljuks in Baghdad. Nobody was watching the door. For 45 years, the Crusaders consolidated. They built castles, they traded, they ruled. And the Muslim world watched, divided, distracted, defeated in spirit before a single sword was raised. Then, from the north, from the city of Mosul, came a man named Imad ad-Din Zengi. He didn't deliver speeches about unity. He didn't write poetry about jihad. He simply marched to Edessa in 1144 and took it back. The first domino had fallen. The Crusaders' world would never feel safe again. Zengi was the spark, but his son, Nur ad-Din, was the fire. Where his father was a warlord, Nur ad-Din was a statesman. He understood something profound. You cannot defeat the Crusaders with armies alone. You need to win the people first. He built schools, he built mosques. He spread a message that the struggle against the Crusaders was not just political, it was spiritual. And slowly, the fragmented Muslim world began to rally around a single idea. Most importantly, Nur ad-Din understood that Egypt, ruled by the weakening Fatimid Caliphate, was the key to everything. Control Egypt, and you control the resources to crush the Crusader states forever. He sent his best general to Cairo, a Kurdish commander, reliable, disciplined, largely unknown. His name was Yusuf ibn Ayyub. The world would come to know him as Saladin. This is the part of the story everyone knows, so we'll move through it quickly, because Saladin is one chapter in a 200-year war, not the whole book. Saladin did not inherit an empire. He built one, carefully, methodically, over 20 years. He united Egypt and Syria. He outmaneuvered rivals. He was patient until he wasn't. July 4th, 1187, the Horns of Hattin. The Crusader army, thirsty, exhausted, surrounded, was destroyed in a single afternoon. The king of Jerusalem was captured. The true cross was taken. On October 2nd, 1187, Saladin, may Allah have mercy on him, entered Jerusalem. No massacre, no churches burned. He negotiated the safe departure of the Christian population, a gesture so remarkable that even his enemies recorded it with awe. But the story didn't end there. Europe launched another crusade. Richard the Lionheart arrived, and Saladin, brilliant as he was, could not finish the job. The coast remained in Crusader hands. When Saladin died in 1193, he had given away almost everything he owned in charity. His treasury had barely enough to pay for his funeral. The Crusaders were still here. The war was not over. After Saladin, the Ayyubid dynasty fractured, just like the Muslim world had before Zengi. His sons and nephews fought each other. Jerusalem was even handed back to the Crusaders, through a treaty in 1229 without a single battle. The Muslim world seemed to be going backwards. And then, from the east, came something worse than the Crusaders. The Mongols. They had already destroyed Baghdad in 1258, killing the caliph, burning the greatest library in the world. The Abbasid Caliphate, the symbolic heart of Sunni Islam, was gone. Now they were coming for the Levant, coming for Egypt. The Muslim world faced complete annihilation on two fronts simultaneously. It was the darkest hour, and from that darkness rose the final answer. The Mamluks were not kings born into power. They were slave soldiers, bought, trained, and forged into the most disciplined fighting force the medieval world had ever seen. In 1260, at the Battle of Ain Jalut, they did what no army had done before. They stopped the Mongols, defeated them in open battle, and pushed them back. Under Sultan Baibars, a tactical genius who would have terrified any general in history, the Mamluks then turned their full attention to the Crusader states. One by one, the great Crusader fortresses fell. Caesarea, Arsuf, Safed, Jaffa, Antioch. Each city taken methodically, relentlessly, without mercy. Then came 1291, Acre, the last great Crusader city. The siege lasted 44 days. When the walls finally broke, the last Crusaders fled to the sea. And as their ships disappeared over the horizon, 2 centuries of occupation ended. Not with a treaty, not with a compromise, with fire and iron and the total, final, absolute end of the Crusader presence in the Holy Land.
200 years, 6 generations, dozens of battles, countless names forgotten by Western history books. This was not just a religious conflict. It was a civilizational struggle for land, for identity, for survival. And it was won not by one hero, but by a chain of men who each played their part. Zengi, who sparked the fire, Nur ad-Din, who built the foundation, Saladin, may Allah have mercy on him, who reclaimed Jerusalem, and the Mamluks, who slammed the door shut forever. History belongs to those who remember it fully. If this documentary changed how you see the Crusades, hit that like button. It helps more people find this story. Subscribe to War and Military History for deep dives into the battles, strategies, and untold perspectives that shaped our world. Where every conflict has a cause, every border has a cost, and every war leaves something behind. The next documentary is already coming. Don't miss it.